So I'm here today with my very good friend, Mr. Kelvin Trott, who is the CEO of Alexander Charles Associates, a business that has proven to be successful both in length and also in impact. So I'm delighted to say hello to you, Kelvin, and I want to dive straight in with, been doing it for a long time. I think we celebrated the 30th anniversary, didn't we, recently? How did it all begin?
Oh, it's lovely to be here, Ian. Thank you for taking the time out to meet me today. I know how busy you are. It all began 30 years ago. My partner and I were working in industry. At the time, we were tasked with recruiting a team of accountants for the firm I was with. We were told to use local agencies who are all nationally known names, and the agency would send somebody along to meet us. We quickly learned that the person knew nothing about accountancy, but that's okay. We spent an hour with them, we would brief them on the job and the company, and they'd leave us with a good understanding of what we needed. The next day, there'd be a pile of CVs, everything from filing clerk to retiring financial director, but you'd invite one or two for interview, because in that huge bulk of CVs which you had to wade through, there were one or two good ones. But the people would turn up for interview, they'd know nothing about the company or the job, but you'd hire someone. Inevitably, there would be someone there that could do the job, and you'd make an offer to them. Then you'd send the agency a cheque for £10,000, which in today's terms is probably about £30,000, significant amount of money. Then you give the agency another job, and another very nice young person would turn up, because the first person hadn't met their sales targets and they were sacked. And my partner and I, we looked at this and we thought, I'm sure we could do a better job of this than this. And we set up our first recruitment business in 1989 with the mission that we would market ourselves as being accountants talking to accountants, demonstrating a depth of understanding to both candidates looking for work and to companies seeking people. In our first week, we made a placement, which was a sales ledger clerk. It was a sign of things to come. We were very excited about that. It was a small deal, £2,500 then, but in today's money about £7,000. But in our first quarter, we placed with Sony, Toshiba, Procter & Gamble, Bolton, Brack and Newman in Massachusetts, United States, and people loved the message, and our business was born.
Wow, you hit the ground running. And 30 years on, and we're going to get into more specific questions. There's been some great ones on LinkedIn as well, by the way, which we'll get to. 30 years on, I mean, what a journey. I've had a 30-year journey in what I do. Peaks and troughs, highs and lows. Never stop learning. Thousands of mistakes, none of them fatal. That's me. How about you?
Oh, life is a learning process. We never stop learning. No two people are the same, no two companies are the same. And it's been, I'm still learning new things today. I'm still learning. Technology's changed so much during the last 30 years. 30 years ago, when we wanted to get company information, we'd have to write off to the FT. Today it's all online, and that service is free. So it's a massive boost to people looking for work. The information available is fantastic, and it's free today.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm going to get stuck into some of the more specific questions. Congratulations, by the way. We all know the stats of companies. Very few make any profits for 10 years, and you're going for 30 years and still growing from strength to strength. So I think that's a mark of your own perseverance and doggedness. So congratulations for everything you've achieved so far. Now then, let's begin with this. What's the biggest lesson that you've learnt in life? I guess professionally, unless you want to expand it to beyond professional.
That's a very difficult question. I've learned so many different things from so many different people. I had various mentors at different times of my life, and they've been instrumental in my growth. And I always look to learn from the people I meet today, the people that are working in different sectors with different expertise. Our business now doesn't just cover accountancy. We deal with a lot of people in technology, sales and marketing roles, And there's some fantastic people out there. It's been a pleasure working with you all.
Yeah, I mean, it takes it's the old saying, it takes a lifetime to create a reputation and 5 minutes to destroy it. You now have the reputation, Alexander Charles Associates, obviously, but it didn't happen overnight.
We had three businesses. The first was pure accountancy, which went to 1995, and 1997 till 2002 we were in technology recruitment, and we formed the present company after retirement of my original partner in 2002. So this has been going 20 years now.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, now this is a question from, let me see who's asked this. Here we go, from Abhishek. Abhishek wants to know, of all the books you have read, which one, or maybe more, had the most profound effect on your young life? By the way, I've written 23 books myself, but you don't have to mention them if you don't want to. Which one or more books had a profound effect on you? This is from Abhishek. Good question, Abhishek.
Yeah. It is a very good question, and I can relate quite strongly to this. When I think my second accountancy job, I was working for a company called Combined Insurance Company of America, which is now the Aon Group, which is now a massive multinational. And the company was founded by a gentleman called Kelvin Trott. And he wrote a book called Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude. And it had an amazing effect on me. As a young man, he was impoverished, and he was selling newspapers in a restaurant. He'd go in and try and sell his newspapers for a few cents, and they'd throw him out. After they'd thrown him out a dozen times, some of the diners in there said, let him stay. He's a nice, polite young man. And he stayed. He earned the money he needed to eat, his family to eat, and he went on to found the world's largest insurance company. And his guiding message was success through a positive mental attitude. For every adversity or liability, find the seed and equivalent or even greater benefit. And that's really stuck with me.
Yeah. My favourite quote was from Ray Kroc, who obviously created the whole McDonald's franchise. And it was along the lines of persistence and determination. The world's full of educated derelicts. The world's full of wasted talent. But determination and persistence alone is omnipotent. And that's the point, isn't it? You know, the world is full of wasted talent, but you've got to be determined and persistent. Right, moving on. Primal asks, for school leavers and graduates looking for a career in accountancy, how do they get their first job? And just to sort of expand that, what advice would you give to school leavers or graduates wanting to join the finance profession and potentially become future CFOs?
Well, I've had the pleasure of helping, it's hundreds, maybe early thousands of young people find jobs over the last 30 years. And it's not easy. The school's careers service in many instances is not fit for purpose. The careers officer is a part-time teacher who works for the public sector, and they haven't been into industry and commerce, so they don't actually know what the real world's like. But what you need to do is get advice, and there are three main sources of advice. I would recommend speaking to your family to see if they know somebody as an accountant working out there that's actually doing the job, and ask them what it's like. Get some hands-on real advice. Second source, obviously, agencies. There are a lot of employment agencies that can, like us, that can give you some general guidance. And then there's the profession itself. So if there's a local firm of accountants in your street, which there probably will be, ring up, see if you can make an appointment and spend some time with an accounting professional. It's important to research your subject. If you haven't researched it, I'll give an example. I get a lot of calls from people that have had 7 interviews and they can't understand why they're not getting a job. My first thing is to ask for their CV. The CV is your shopping.
It's your shop window.
Perfect. Couldn't put it better. It's your shop window. So let's see the CV. Let's see how you're presenting yourself. Now, if you've got 3 A levels, which is commendable, or even a degree, and you're up against 7 other people that have also got 3 A levels and stars and a degree, how do you make yourself different? I would add to your CV, I would research the 4 major accountancy bodies, the ACCA, Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, the ACA and the AAT. Look at their syllabuses, look at what they do, and register, and pick the one you think is going to be most suitable to you, and register as a student. You can then put that on your CV. Your competitors won't have that, but it demonstrates to an employer that you are really serious about a career in accountancy.
Yeah.
You will knock out your competition.
That brings me on to a really, really important part. I think society's changed, Kelvin, over the last 20, 30 years. You know, I did a history degree in the 1980s, which was then viewed as a proper degree. Now, unless you want to get into academia, it's pretty useless, really. And to me now, in any profession, whether it's mine or it's yours, bit of street-wise savviness, confidence, thinking out of the box, all of that is really important. So the question I'm going to ask you next, I'm not sure this came from anybody apart from me, is how do you view a candidate who doesn't have the required qualifications but has a vast amount of proven hands-on experience and an awesome work ethic? I think I know the answer to this, but...
Okay. Well, in the industry, we call these people qualified by experience, QBEs. Now, look, to be honest, there are some jobs, getting an accountancy qualification is important. Actually doing the qualification shows an ability to learn a subject, and you can apply that to any subject. But if you think about an accountancy exam, most people have a pass rate of 55 to 60%, so you're not covering the whole course. But it's the ability to learn and apply that knowledge.
Yeah.
Enthusiasm will go a long way in your career. If it's 5:30 and the office is going home and your boss is still sitting there, ask him if there's anything else you could help with. Chances are there is. He's going to be working late and might need some help. He's going to welcome that, and you might find yourself doing some things which you might not see too much later in your career. That's going to help you fast track.
You can't replace enthusiasm, you can't replace passion, and you can't replace good old-fashioned graft. I remember talking to Barry Hearn, and he was asked, how do you increase productivity? He said, you're expecting a really complicated answer? Here's the answer. Get up 1 hour earlier.
Yeah.
Simple as that. You cannot replace hard graft. Right, a question from Claire from MasterCard. What's the biggest lesson you have learned in your business career? The one single most biggest lesson you've learned, Kelvin, in your business career? From Claire from MasterCard.
To Claire from MasterCard, I'm not having another one, Claire, thank you.
Right.
Persistence. Again, we've used that word several times today, but persistence, keeping on a level track and keeping a positive mental attitude. Those are the three biggest lessons.
Yeah. I, for what it's worth, I second that as well. Here's a question which has appeared a few times. What's the UK employment market like at the moment? Is this a good time to move? I think just to sort of further that, it's been a interesting / challenging, very unique period of time for all of us in our lives. We're into sort of the first year out of the carnage that COVID created, the pandemic, the lockdowns, etc. We can't keep using that as an excuse, but there's no doubt about it, society has changed.
Yeah, since 2015 it's been unprecedented. We had 2 to 3 years of Brexit uncertainty.
Yep.
We've had COVID. We've had the terrible war in Ukraine, and today we have the terrible events in Israel and Palestine.
Which impacts on everybody, doesn't it? Not as much as them, obviously,
It does.
but there's an impact on the whole world.
It does. I've had people coming to me from who are employed by Russian companies that have been laid off. It's been never ending, but some key things have happened. The use of new technology, the use of Teams and Zoom for video calls, it's made everything more productive. Now, at the turn of the century, I tried to use Skype.
Yeah.
And it's probably the most dreadful systems I've ever used.
Nobody Skypes anymore.
No one Skypes, and it's still dreadful. But today you have these free tools, which are fantastic to use, and it's pushed our productivity up tenfold. In the past, I used to meet candidates at Fortnum and Mason at 7 in the morning, between Monday and Thursday, till 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
And today, I meet 4 candidates, and today it's all on camera.
Yeah, I remember talking to you during COVID and asking how it was going, and you were saying, well, obviously, nobody wants COVID on anybody, but actually from your side, from the profession, it was actually quite productive, wasn't it?
It was 2021, post-COVID, we saw an absolute boom.
Yeah.
And that boom's tailed off a little bit now because of Ukrainian war and Israel.
Sure.
But the market, the UK economy is incredibly resilient.
It is.
Always bounces back.
Right, now I'm going to embarrass you, okay, Kelvin, because you've not mentioned it yet, so I'm going to mention it for you. You were voted the top UK finance recruitment firm at the FD Excellence Awards, which was sponsored by the ICAEW and also the CBI, beating many multinational firms. So number one, well done. I did know you did that, obviously, but well, congratulations again. But secondly, how did you manage to do that?
Well, to be honest, I'm not actually sure. What I would say that you get awards for crossing the roads these days. I mean, it really seems to be covered with them everywhere, but this award had a lot of credibility. It was sponsored by the Institute of Chartered Accountants England and Wales, and I met the president, Michael Izza, 4 times when he presented me with the award every year.
Yeah.
And the CBI, recognised businesses. We were up against national household names, each claiming to be the largest in the world: Robert Half, Reed, Hayes, Robert Walters, and Michael Page, a small firm somewhere in London.
Yeah.
And they were runners up. So it was astonishing, but we didn't enter it ourselves. We were nominated by various CFOs who'd used our services and then went on to rate them in this survey, and they were giving us top marks and the others were getting less so. So I'm very grateful for that. It was a big business boost. It helped our business double during that period. So we were very honoured and grateful to be recognised.
Yeah, well, it wasn't by coincidence or fluke either, so congratulations. And I imagine one of the highlights of your professional life as well.
No, the highlight of my professional life was attending your first sporting club event in Morton's in Berkeley Square.
There we go, that's very kind of you. You got that bit right, well done. Right, now, in addition to base salary, which benefits, financial or non-financial, make a real difference to potential candidates, Kelvin, and existing colleagues, and how can they be improved, enhanced? So this is now getting quite niche, but I think it's important for people to understand.
Yeah, your career isn't just about salary. Salary progression is nice, it's meaningful for us all. We need more money to keep up with inflation, but there are other softer factors you might want to consider as well. How supportive a company will be, both to you professionally, perhaps in pursuit of further examinations and qualifications, or as a person, mentally and socially, and finding people you would like to work with. It's all very well going. When you go for an interview, sometimes you're wearing a mask, and the employer wears a mask, and they need to see the real you, and you need to see the real them, and take time to meet them. And if we often say to companies, before you make an offer, a final offer, take the person out to dinner, meet them socially. It's not a test. It's just a good thing to do.
Build a relationship.
Exactly.
One of the lines that I always say, Kelvin, all the time, in this day and age where people just want to send emails or attend events where, you discover who their name is because you're reading it on a badge. For me, it doesn't matter what genre it is. If you build relationships, better business is created from it. It's very simple, isn't it? Okay, what do you consider are the most important components of a new opportunity?
Gosh, it depends which stage of your career you're at and what you're looking for, and why you joined the firm in the first place. Working environment's got to be key. A lot of people these days look for some sort of hybrid working. Now I say to all the young people listening to this, you can't learn a new job working from your bedroom. You need to be in the company of other professionals, listening to what they do, how they conduct themselves.
Be a sponge.
Be a sponge, absolutely.
Yeah.
And going the extra mile.
Yeah.
And if the business is celebrating a new deal, has got a brand new product,
Yeah.
learn about it.
Yeah.
As an accountant, it'll help you understand why you're getting returns. It'll make your job much more meaningful.
Yeah, no, I second that as well. What's been of all? I mean, how many placements do you think you've done in your career? Ballpark figure.
600-700.
600-700. So one standout is the most memorable placement you can think of.
Well, they're all memorable.
Yeah.
You know, we celebrate. We try to go out with candidates when they've got a job offer, and so they're all memorable. Probably the most memorable one was actually the first one we ever did. We were very nervous about setting up in business. Everyone told us, don't do it, the market's overcrowded, it won't last.
Yeah.
And 35 years later, we're still enjoying it.
I love it when I hear things like that. Everybody told me not to do what I've done as well. And you don't ignore their advice, but you've got to follow your gut as well, haven't you? You know, people don't do that enough sometimes. They get talked into doing things they don't actually believe in.
Absolutely.
As well. Two more things, Kelvin. We're sitting here in 5 years' time, okay? What would you have hoped to have achieved with the business, and how do you think society is going to continue to evolve, which will be relevant to you, hopefully in a positive way?
5 years' time, we see the development of AI as having a major factor in the marketplace. We had Baroness Tammy Gray-Thompson at an event recently, and she brought up the issue that ticket offices were being closed in favour of AI.
Yeah.
And she brought up in the House of Lords that it would be very difficult for people in wheelchairs to access. And what I say again today to finance professionals, try and take everyone along with you on the journey. We're all on the same path, everyone's going to be affected by AI, but be as inclusive as possible.
Yeah, yeah. You mentioned finally about Baroness Tammy Gray-Thompson being at an event. It wasn't just any event, it was the Alexander Charles Associates annual sporting lunch, which I'm very proud to play a part in. I host them, as you know, and you've had some tremendous names in the two lunches that you've done. And that's an extra component that nobody else like you really does. But I know your clients really enjoy it, but it makes good business sense to do it as well.
Yeah, from two senses. First, we get to socialise. We had 100 clients at the last one, and then 3 years ago we had Jason Robinson, Tony Adams,
Tracy Edwards.
Thank you, Tracy Edwards, a very famous sailor. We had 100 people in the room there.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful chance to get to socialise and also to learn some very important lessons.
Yeah, from the stars.
Exactly, yeah.
So this time we had Lawrence Delalio, Baroness Tammy Gray-Thompson and Sir Jeff Hurst.
Sir Jeff Hurst, now the only surviving winner of the 1966 World Cup.
Yeah. So again, I mean, I hope from my point of view, well, I know it works well for you for client entertainment, but also for business development as well.
Absolutely, it's something we're going to continue doing in the next year. We were just talking before we started this interview about our plan for the 3 Dames next year, which we're very excited about.
And we're not talking about pantomime dames, are we? Okay, Kelvin, as a sort of a final sort of footnote, what are the takeaways from this session we've just had? You never stop learning. You can't replace graft and persistence and determination. Get yourself out there, learn, be a sponge, and I guess, you know, the way you started it, you're the embodiment of making a success of something, but be prepared to take some hits along the way. I've never met anybody whose career journey has been like this. Isn't it? It's life. It's life.
It is. And don't be afraid to ask for advice. It's about finding a mentor. Someone asked me about how do you find a mentor. You can have more than one mentor in life. I have a political mentor. I have a accounting mentor, Brian Bailey, the CFO that trained me when I was a young accountant. Lord St John of Bletsoe has been a tremendous source of encouragement and advice. And today everyone I meet becomes a sort of de facto mentor. I've met some incredible people over the last 35 years, and I hope to do so over the next few years as well.
The next 35 years as well. Kelvin, it's been a pleasure. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you.